But I was actually wondering, how do you do church now? How have your churches responded to the COVID-19?
So our church is they got into technology pretty early. Our pastor and our board, they really want to be forward thinking, and so we have had a broadcast of our church services for maybe 4 or 5 years, and so we had the equipment already there,
Okay.
and so they record all the worship services. They'll have 4 members of the praise team come in, and it's not like as maybe upbeat as what I'd like, but but there are 4 members of the praise team who come in, and they
Wow.
do the music. The pastoral team is there, and they will go and take turns. Our church is it's unique. It's one church body, but it's split into 2 different church is. There's a church in Fort Collins and there's a church in Greeley, about
Okay.
45 minutes apart, and the church body serves both communities,
Okay.
and so the viewership is way up,
Mhm.
and it's really enabled us to reach out to not, I mean, far outside of our communities. But it's neat because our pastor, he instituted an every week, every church service communion, which was so different from anything that I'd ever done. But I really came to appreciate that, and found it refilling my soul every week,
Mhm.
versus the once a month or once a quarter or whatever that I'd had in other churches.
That is unique.
And so a couple weeks ago he said, hey, we've
Hmm.
forgotten about communion. You can do communion at your house. And so we did, and it was so much fun. When we got married, my grandpa, he was a really good woodworker, and he took an olive, uh, big olive trunk, and he cut it up, and then he had a lathe, and he turned it into a communion service arrangement. And so I baked unleavened bread, and we had the wine in the little olive wine type glasses that he made from the olive wood, and we did communion in our home, following the pastor's lead. It was the coolest thing. And so by doing that, we've been able to continue our growth and our relationship, in our fellowship with our congregation. And
Mhm.
then I also volunteer with the middle school youth group, and they divide us up into groups. We've got about probably 150 kids who come to youth every week, and we have them divided up into different groups. And through this, every week, we got together, and we really were able to bond with those kids. And so with this, it kind of broke that bond up, and it kind of hurt that structure that they
Mhm.
had, that they needed. And so what
Mhm.
we did was we shared everyone's email addresses, and so I've reached out to all of them, and hey, I'm here. My wife is here. If you have a need, if you have a trouble, if all you need to do is talk, you know, I do it pretty well. Hit me up. We'll get on a Zoom, or we'll do something, and have a conversation to kind of help you and the family get through it. And
Mhm.
so through that, it really has shown me and our church that the building, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. The souls within the congregants, that is our church. That is our
Mhm.
church body. and we do not need to be gathered together underneath a roof or in a parking lot to need to have that feel like our church. We are feeling church in our homes, spread out across the entire country, because there are people who had gone to our church and now have moved away, and they've joined back in our weekly worship services because it's available. So it's really, it has been a positive thing for us.
Thanks for sharing, Dave. There's so much in that, the stripping away that you see, they've labeled certain workers in our society non-essential workers, but there are a lot of non-essential things as well in our lives that kind of are falling away, and I think that's really necessary. I think we can see, oh, that wasn't really that important, and we can see more clearly too, wow, this is the first thing I will do once we are able to gather together again as a congregation, as a society.
I read someone saying, you know what, yes, the church is just a building, but I miss it. And I think there is some importance in that. I do understand that as believers, we want to be with one another. Like in where we are part of, like we are really a family, and we see each other not only on Sundays for 1 hour or two. We see each other like often, and by often I mean like there is Wednesdays man's Bible study, there is youth group, there is a women where we get together, and there is something unique about being able to get together and to see each other and to like hug each other. It's not the same like I'm talking to you right now. There is some uniqueness about being the body and being together. So I don't want to diminish that. However, to Dave's point, like we had the same opportunity, and the cool part was like, in our case, the pastor gave the fathers of the household, if there is a dad, of course, to go ahead and lead the communion portion. And I find that to be, to a certain extent, I don't know, it's giving the dads that opportunity to lead and to, I don't know, to share with their example. And I really, really enjoyed that. So those were the two things I wanted to mention about that question.
I honestly, the first church service back, I just feel like it's going to be like this huge celebration. And I have done church online because I worked on Parliament Hill in Canada. I had to travel everywhere all the time. And so I got used to church online. And way back then, I actually was like, man, I miss the body. I miss being together, that corporate worship. And that I appreciate everything that each and every church is doing by their own means to reach people. And I was reading, a pastor had posted a study actually of church attendance online, and it's just skyrocketed. So I can't wait for all the new believers that are going to come and join the churches that they've been connecting with online, because I think it's really going to be a celebration.
Absolutely. And I agree that missing the people and seeing them. I can't wait to get back and there's not gonna be anything going on that first Sunday and Wednesday back other than just like big group hugs. That's it. Just big group hugs, hugs, social distancing. It's out the window. There's no stopping it. There's no stopping it.